Now there's a few ways of taking the existing stain off your log home. One of which is using chemical strippers, which I tried. I used a couple samples of it. I really didn't like the way it was working. You also use a power washer, which can force a lot of water into the logs and also into your home at times, depending on how it's sealed up. But the other way, of course, is sanding if you don't have a traditional log-style home, if it's more of a flat-sided or cedar-sided home. Sometimes you can use orbital sanders to take the finish off. The other method is using a media blaster, much like this. There's forms of using either corncob blasting, walnut shells, or much more recently, a lot of companies are using crushed recycled glass, which is what I have used. It is much nicer to use. It's a little bit cleaner. It looks like sand. It's about the gradient of table salt. It's not harmful to the environment. It can just absorb right into the ground. It can be swept up and cleaned up fairly easily. And it's not too expensive to buy either. This is the media I'm using. It's made by New Age, a company called New Age Blast Media. You can see the website at the top, newageblastmedia.com. This blast media was recommended by not only Permachink Systems, who, like I mentioned, is the company that produces the stains and other products I'm using. So I really trust their opinion, but it seems like these people make some of the best crushed recycled glass in the business. This is the medium grade, comes in 50-pound bags. I just called up New Age Direct. They're based out of the other side of Pennsylvania from me, but they'll ship you a whole pallet of it, which a whole pallet is probably enough to get my house done, maybe a little bit more. Like I said, I'm working with about 1,500 square foot of surface space. A whole pallet, I can't remember the exact cost, but it was around $450, $500, but that's 40 bags of 50 pounds a piece. So, you know, literally a ton of blast media. It really has been working awesome, and that's definitely the easiest way to buy it in bulk. It'll get shipped to your home or business or whatever, and I'd really recommend using this stuff. It's been great. This is the type of compressor you're going to need. It's a big commercial compressor you would see at job sites and construction sites, road crews, made for running jackhammers, other large pneumatic items. This one, a buddy was nice enough to lend me, which is really awesome because it saves me. Like I said, I've rented one for around $160 a day, which is really cheap, but it's nice to get one for free too. So they're really simple. They work like as a screw type compressor. So really what you do is, on pretty much all of these that I've ever used, flip this switch on right here, and then once the diesel engine warms up, you're gonna just push this button, and that'll start building pressure immediately in the tank, and then you'll turn your air hose on after you have it connected up to your blast pod over there, and that's pretty much it. Now the next optional step after media blasting your home is to buff it with an Osborne buffing brush, much like the one you see here. You'll use it on a variable speed buffer like this Makita, so you can adjust your RPMs. You really want to be around 1,000, 1,200 RPM with one of these. Use a very light motion. You don't have to use a lot of pressure on them. I'm just hitting areas that I can reach, areas that I see, areas on my porch where you'll have a lot of people around. Maybe it leaves a little bit nicer finish. You'll notice after blasting, the logs will be a little feathered. They'll be a little fuzzy feeling kind of. So this really is all that does. It takes that fuzziness and that feathering away from the logs. Leaves it with a much nicer finish after you put the stain on. But other than that, that's really the only purpose of it. It's completely optional, but the brushes are about $100 a piece. A little pricey, but it's a nice touch. Since you're already going this far with it, you might as well do this as well. Your next two steps are really quite simple. What you're going to do after media blasting, and possibly if you're going to buff the logs too, after that you're going to want to wash the logs. I'm using a log wash solution offered by Permachink Systems. Basically what you do is you mix a cup of this, or a cup and a half to 2 cups per gallon of water in a simple pump sprayer. Wet the house down real good, spray it on, let it sit for about 10-15 minutes, don't let it dry out, and then simply hose it off with a garden hose. It'll take a lot of the surface crap on there. A lot of it's been taken off from media blasting if you're going with that step, but you also use this to clean your home every year. Definitely does a nice job on the finish, and takes a lot of the, like I said, the mold and stuff that kind of gets on the logs over the course of the year. After that dries, the most important step, especially if you've media blasted the home, is to use some type of a borate based treatment. This is Shell Guard, ready to use, offered by Permachink Systems. Once again, you just pour this straight. It's ready to use. Pour it straight in your pump sprayer. You want to soak down the logs fairly good. I don't think you can really use too much of this stuff. Honestly, it's great for the home. It's going to prevent any rot, also any wood boring insects. Really a great treatment before you put the stain on.